Today is still the 2nd of June 2023, and we're continuing on from the last video where we left you at the gates of the Hobatere Conservancy. Once we leave Hobatere, it's only 4 kilometres to the entrance to Etosha National Park. What a slog. From there it's about 120 kilometres to our next overnight stop, which is Olifantsrus Camp site within the park itself. As I mentioned before, the name means Elephant's Rest, and it's known for the viewing platform there and, well, elephants. But first a bit about Etosha National Park. It's in Namibia. That's good, so are we. The area is about 22,270 square kilometres, and it's named after the large Etosha salt pan within the park. So it's not a mere back paddock. To get the size of the place, it's about 290 kilometres wide and 90 kilometres deep. There are some roads and artificial waterholes in the south and east of the park, and some natural springs around the salt pans themselves. There is a huge area where tourists cannot get to and that the animals have to themselves. Interestingly, the artificial waterholes were established to stop the antelope from migrating across the surrounding farmland, which was encroaching on Etosha in the early 20th century. With reliable water, the antelope didn't need to migrate, and neither did their predators. The result is a large area where the animals can roam freely except for the effing poachers, and the visitors can see lots and lots and lots of animals. The park has many species, including endangered black and white rhino. In 2022, 46 black rhino were killed by poachers in Etosha alone. For this reason, you can't take drones into the park, and you're asked not to record sightings in the park registers. Personally, that's a major shame, bearing in mind the rhinos are killed just for the horn, which winds up as ineffective dick pills and dagger handles. We're interviewed by a Namibian police officer asking if we have a drone in the car. I tell them no, and they do a quick check. It's not a problem. Then into the office to get our park pass. I've semi-planned for 3 days here. It's a slow 300-kilometre drive across, and I've left an optional 4th day if we need it. I don't know what to expect. Is it going to be a big nothing, or are we going to see an animal or two? From the gate it's about 110 kilometres to the Olifantsrus campsite. There are 3 other sites you can stay within the park. They have rooms and chalets and campsites as well, but I heard on the internet that during COVID they were allowed to run down somewhat, and they are still a bit sad. For this reason we've booked 2 sites just outside the park for the following nights. The first and second nights will be camping, and the following 2 nights, you guessed it, semi-posh lodge job. So let's go. The first stop is Rhinos waterhole. Along the way we see this tiny antelope by the side of the road. It's a female dik-dik, and she's only about 30 centimetres tall at the shoulder. Definite winner in the eyelash department, and the mohawk is pretty special as well. On arrival at the waterhole, we see there's some animals there already. That's a good start. We're about to find out that this is not always the case. Sometimes there's nothing around and you have to wait. A lot of people roll in, give it maybe 20 seconds and roll out again. We would often stay half an hour or more at the later waterholes when there was nothing on arrival. Often we were rewarded with animals coming in after we waited a while. These are hartebeest, not sure what type, maybe red hartebeest. Mountain zebra with the single stripes. And plain zebra with the double black and grey stripes. And oryx. I wouldn't want to be on the wrong end of those horns. Venostovli waterhole. These what I suspect are mountain zebras at Venostovli waterhole, and I'll submit some pictures to the Hartman's Mountain Zebra project showing where they are. Off in the distance I can hear a commotion behind us. So to Angela, what's that? And she replies, elephants, in a tone of voice that indicates I'm a dickhead. Not, "Oh, it's elephants, darling," just elephants. I craned my ancient stiff neck to look behind us, and they seemed to be having a conversation about whether to drink here or go elsewhere. A couple of them break off from the herd and start heading our way. Now we're parked here in our flimsy little Hilux, and there is nothing between them and us. Unlike Uganda, there's no Robert who knows what to do if an elephant gets grumpy. I'm nervous. I hope the elephants know what to do. Some elephants coming down to the waterhole. There's quite a big herd of them, and I'm a bit nervous because it's two mothers with babies. We're just staying here, and I think they're checking us out and we're checking them out. Washing the windscreen helped.
Do you want to swing around a bit so you're looking straight out the window?
No, I don't want to get too close.
No, I mean just swing that way.
Yeah, no.
So then you're looking out the window.
Alright. The real little baby is sort of just staying in there. It's a bit scary thinking there's nothing between them and us. These are common eland, I think. They're the second largest antelope, weighing in at about 600 kilos or more. These are the only ones we saw. Then some ostriches turn up. We watch for a while and then move on to the next waterhole, which I think is called Klipan. There's a large herd of springbok here.
Skinny little legs.
Would that look a bit funny with big fat elephant legs? Nothing else turns up, so we move to Dolomite Waterhole, which is the next one up. This is the Dolomite Lodge, perched on top of this thin ridge. Looks nice. Not staying there, though. There is some blue wildebeest plodding along next to the road. This calf looks to be very much in the "are we there yet" mode. Every now and then we see a bigger male flaked out in a dust scrape, just looking grumpy. Turns out the wildebeest are heading for the waterhole as well, except for the grumpies who just stay put. There's this vulture doing his Dracula impersonation. And more ostriches. The long lens on the camera really helps to get closer views of the locals. We also have a pair of binoculars. The male ostriches are real characters. They seem to be having animated conversations, gesturing with their wings. And the vultures just do their vulture thing. They're quite big and are flying in to drink. At last we make it to Olifanstrus Camp. It looks a bit like a fortress. It is. There's a double electric fence around the camp. It's designed to keep out the elephants, rhino, lions and leopards and anything else that could mess you up. Like some of the lodges, the camp is locked down at night. No entry after sunset and no leaving before sunrise. Turns out some of the campers had not got the message. The walkway to the game hide at the top left is elevated over the fence, so there's no gate for some dummy to leave open. The hide itself is 2 levels with windows you can't open on the lower level and an open area on the top. Elephants don't expect any danger from above, so they seem not to be bothered if you're above them. This is why this is needed. There are elephants here, not just 1 or 2. You can get quite close as they come into the base of the hide to drink. If you're on the lower level, you'd only be a couple of metres from this one. The view from the upper level is great. There's a shelf for your camera, binoculars, etc. There are signs asking you to be quiet, which most people obey, but some think this is a Disney attraction and talk at the tops of their voices. The elephants don't like it. You can see our camp from up here. We're right on the fence. Once they have a drink, they just hang out, deciding what to occupy the rest of the day with. Maybe have a scratch. The creaking is because there's an elephant right under me rubbing his ass on the uprights. This one is self-administering a tubby rub on the old post. A minute before it was scratching its back on the walkway upright, making the whole thing shake. Their wrinkled skin is really interesting and they like covering themselves with mud, maybe to keep the flies off. They have long eyelashes to keep the mud out of their eyes. The feet are also interesting. They seem to walk on their toes with a big soft pad to support their weight. They walk almost silently. I wish kids that were stomping around like a herd of elephants made so little noise. We head back to camp and go to the shop to get something to eat. The night settles in and Angela hits the hay. It's been a long day. I stay up doing a crossword for a while and then decide to sneak down to the hide to see if there's anything interesting. By this time it's completely dark. Turns out there's a rhino. I try for some video but it's not usable. I'm feeling a bit faint and flustered as if I've seen a unicorn or something. These are rare and not often seen. It's pretty nervous and everyone is silent or talking in the lowest whispers so not to spook it. I decide it's worth waking Angela up to see it, but then there arrives the thing wildlife observers the world over fear, noisy effing kids. They come barging in, banging the doors and talking so loud you could have heard every word they were saying back at the campsites. They're followed by their brain-dead parents that do nothing to quieten them down. All eyes in the hide are glaring at them, but no Fs are given on their part. The rhino, as expected, departs into the night. There are about 20 people who could be described as not happy, me amongst them. The Noises didn't get to see the rhino, and within 1 minute of their arrival they're gone, taking their horrible offspring with them because there's nothing to see. I go to bed very, very unhappy. The only slight minor consolation is that I've now racked up 4 of the big 5 African animals, having seen lion, buffalo, elephant and now a rhino. What kind of rhino? Couldn't tell. The easiest way to tell is the mouth, and I got to see the other end. Maybe we'll see another one. I go to sleep hoping there is a special place in some hell somewhere for selfish people like that.